Number 1. I'm a 16-year-old girl. I was walking home from the school bus one day after school. The bus stop is roughly a 15-minute walk from my house, and I was listening to music with my headphones. It was roughly 4 o'clock, so barely anyone in my neighbourhood was home. I was about halfway home when I saw a grey sedan pull over next to me by the corner of my eye. I tried not to think too much of it as I was walking by a house, and the owner of the car could have easily lived there. But I am naturally super paranoid, so I can't help this feeling in the pit of my stomach that, oh shit is about to hit the fan. Anyways, I suddenly hear someone yelling, "Oi!" over and over again. I pulled an earphone out and looked towards the car where a man who looked to be in his mid-30s was practically hanging out of the window of the driver's seat. I noticed he was the only person in the car. He whistled at me and motioned over with a wave of his hand. I stayed put and politely asked, "Can I help you?" He smirked and said something along the lines of, "I was just wondering if I could give you a ride someplace. You see, I've got this real nice car and it would be a shame to waste the new car smell." I tried my best not to laugh at his failed creepy as fuck attempt at enticing me to join me in his rapist mobile. I politely declined, supplying the excuse that I'm just around the corner. Anyways, I can get there just fine. I most definitely was not just around the corner. So I start to walk away and he starts driving extremely slow next to me. He keeps saying things like, "Come on babe, let me show you a good time," and "Get in the car, sweetheart." It was at this point that I realized something really bad could potentially happen. So I took out my phone and turned on the camera and sneakily recorded everything. I made sure to get a glimpse of his face in the number plate on camera. When I was about 3 minutes away from home, the guy started getting much more aggressive, threatening that if I didn't enter his vehicle, then he would come out and get me instead. Then he did something that scared the crap out of me. He stopped the car, opened the door and got out. He was storming towards me and all I could think to do was run. And boy did I. I don't think I've ever run as fast as I did then. Somehow he caught up to me in the car. I randomly thought to myself, I'm gonna run right past my street and turn around so that he has to do a U-turn. So I did that and then ran into the street next to mine and hid in the driveway of a house behind a bush. I saw his car speed right past the house and down the street, and that's when I ran for it. I turned the corner, entered my street and entered my backyard through the back gate and waited there, looking through the peephole in my gate to see if he would drive past, which he did, twice. I ran into my house, made sure that the front, back and patio doors were locked and closed all of the blinds. I sprinted into my bedroom and hid in the closet and called the police. The operator said they would send someone to my house. Then I called my mum, who proceeded to freak out and said she was coming home right away. Eventually the police arrived, as did my mum. I gave a statement and showed them the footage of the man and his license plate. Apparently the car was a stolen one, and they still haven't identified or arrested the man yet. So yeah, there's the story about the time a few days ago where a guy almost kidnapped me and could have done who knows what. Number 2. I'm a youngish girl living in South Carolina along the coast, and every day I usually take my 2 kids for a 3-mile walk along the beach and back, sometimes making a detour to get coffee. This was a moderately windy day, and my dress was kind of fluttering all around. So about a mile into our walk, we decided to take a right and cross back to head a couple of blocks inland to grab an iced coffee. As I am walking across the street with my kids, both toddlers, one in a stroller and one walking, an older woman comes from behind me and says, "Do not look right now, just keep crossing the street. But I want you to know there is a man following you, taking photos of you and has been for at least half a mile along Fake Street. He's been driving about 2 miles per hour behind you as you walk." At first, I thought it must have been some kind of mistake, or that maybe the lady was crazy or something. There was plenty of young girls who jog up and down the street in sports bras and underwear, basically. So why would anyone bother following me, a mum with 2 kids on a stroll, in broad daylight? We cross and continue walking for a second up the street, and I can't help but look and try and see if this lady is losing her mind or if she's right. And sure enough, a middle-aged bald man in a tiny black smart car has now turned the same corner as us and is driving, like she said, 2 miles an hour behind us. With a telescope lens, the kind you see at sporting events, pointed directly at me and my kids. Instant adrenaline rush. I looked him dead in his eyes, and he moved the camera so I could see his face and looked right at me, then moved his head behind the small piece of frame that holds the window so his face was hidden, and continues to point the camera directly at me, presumably taking more photos of me, or even worse, my small children. I wanted to take a picture of his car, but this is the one day that I left my phone at home to charge. I rush the kids into a small coffee shop on the corner, and the lady tells me to go inside and call someone for help, while she waits and makes sure he is gone before we leave. I immediately call my husband on the coffee shop's phone and start crying. Not sure why I was so flushed with emotions, but all I can say is I felt so violated and scared as heck that someone wanted to hurt my kids or me. He was stuck at work 20 miles away, so I kept trying other friends to come help me. Trying to remember people's numbers when you need them is so hard in this day and age, with everything being one click away. That lady, who I am so grateful for, waited 15 minutes outside the shop while the guy just sat there in his car waiting for me to leave. She stared right at him, and he didn't move for all that time. That part really freaks me out, because it was obvious that we knew he was there waiting, but he was so brazen that he didn't even care. After the 15-minute period, he did leave, and I was able to get a hold of my dad to come pick us up and drive around for a while in case he was somehow following us and would see where I lived, which was just 2 blocks south. I called the police to make a report, and the lady who answered the non-emergency line kind of brushed me off, because I didn't have a license plate number, so I have no idea if they ever followed up on it. 2 lessons I learned that day. Don't ever leave the house with my kids without a charged phone, and I am so much more aware of my surroundings now. To think, he followed me for that long and I didn't notice. And it took so long for anyone to tell me. I felt so dumb. So creepy guy in the smart car following me and my kids taking photos of us? Let's not meet ever again. Number 3. This story happened a year ago. I was living with my then boyfriend, now fiancé. Anyways, we lived in a small townhouse in the suburbs. Pretty safe area. There had been some robberies a couple of blocks away, but they weren't common, and I felt pretty safe walking home alone at night. So one weekend, my boyfriend's brother, Marshall, and his girlfriend Amy, and her brother Curtis were visiting. We were all just gonna chill, have a couple of drinks and play some video games and relax. My boyfriend had his LSATs, and after months of hard studying, he wanted to just relax before the exam. Unfortunately, I ended up getting very sick. It was the worst flu that I'd ever had. Extremely high fever, 1 degree higher, and I would have had to have gone to the hospital. Nausea, headache, body aches, and all that good stuff. Of course, I didn't want that to stop my friends from having a good time, so they came over anyways, and I just stayed in my room. They went out to eat before they came over, so I was in bed alone watching TV. Felt like I was dying. I slept on and off. At 4 p.m, I heard the door open and figured they were back, but when I called out for my boyfriend, no one came. Even if he was there, he probably wouldn't have heard me, but I knew he'd come and check on me as soon as he came back. So I assumed I just heard something fall, or the neighbours were making noises, so I dismissed it and went back to sleep. I remember I was sleeping on my back, and in deep sleep, I groggily opened my eyes and thought I saw a figure move across my room. I was so heavily medicated and so sick, I didn't even fully understand what happened and what that meant. Like, I saw the figure, but it didn't connect in my brain that I may have seen someone, and since it was pretty dark in my room, I think part of me just thought it was the TV. Finally, around 7 p.m, everyone came back. They were loud. Amy was very tipsy, and she's very fun when drunk, so there was lots of laughter. My boyfriend came in to check on me and brought me soup. He sat and talked about his day as I ate it. I asked him to look in the basket under the bed and get a new bottle of aspirin. We had a full-sized bed and one small basket under the bed where I kept extra pill bottles, toothbrushes, shaving cream, stuff like that. I didn't know it right away, but thank God he looked under the bed. He put his head up and handed me the aspirin, but his facial expression changed. Like he lost all colour from his face. I didn't think much of it and said thank you. Come on, I'm gonna take you to the bathroom. He never stutters. I was kind of out of it, but I remember picking up on it. I told him no, I really didn't have to pee, and I really didn't feel like getting up. He said, "No, let's go. I don't want to leave you and have to climb back up the stairs just because you need to pee in 10 minutes. I remember feeling pretty hurt by his words, but knew he was right since I'd just had soup and half a bottle of water. He walked me down the stairs and I couldn't understand why we didn't just go to the bathroom upstairs. I think I was so sick I just felt too exhausted to question. He sat me down on the couch. "What's going on?" I practically whispered. This I was told, although in my head it sounded loud. He took out his phone and his hands were shaking. I asked what was wrong, and I'll never forget how my heart sank and how I felt like I couldn't breathe when he whispered, "There was someone under the bed." Amy laughed, so I laughed thinking it was a prank, but it felt serious. My boyfriend's brother suggested we get out the house, so we did. And as we were leaving, we heard a thud upstairs. We quickly left and drove away, then called the police. The police came by and searched the house. They didn't find anyone. He must have known we suspected he was there, and left. My boyfriend couldn't give any description, only that he saw sneakers, but it was so dark he really couldn't see. The scariest thing that still leaves me on edge is the police found a knife under the bed. It was a small steak knife, but very dull and rusty. There weren't any killings in the area, so my friends assumed he just wanted a place to sleep. I'm not really sure how he got into our place, but I have some theories. I'm really proud of how my boyfriend handled everything. He's a very calm, collected person, but I always assumed he wouldn't be that way in a crisis. I just hope I never see that person again. Ever. Hey guys, Flamingo Creeper here. Thank you for checking out my video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already. I post a new video every Monday and Wednesday. But if you're impatient, I do have older videos you can check out if you haven't already seen them. I would like to thank the Reddit users and creepers who gave me permission to read their stories with you all. The links to the Reddit stories are in the description section if you want to check them out. If you want to send me your own creepy stories to reach this beautiful creepy community, you can either email them to me or message me over Facebook. Details for both are in the description. Just be sure to include a brief statement saying I do have your permission to read them, and let me know if it's a story for Monday or Wednesday. If you haven't already, go like my Facebook page, as I post daily about various creepy things ranging from urban legends to serial killers. As always, my creepers, stay safe, and remember, the monster isn't under your bed, it's in the street.